Hi, welcome back to another video. We're going to be talking over the 7.2b changes in Wild Rift today. If you enjoy this content, please like, comment, subscribe, and let's get right into it. So crit items got a buff. There's +5 attack damage to LDR and Blaster. Navori Quick Blades also are 100 gold cheaper now. They went from 2,800 gold to 2,700 gold. Luden's Echo also got buffed. It has +30 base damage and an additional 5% scaling on the passive. Echo and Aurora got buffs. There were some Sona and Kale nerfs, and then some jungle nerfs. So we will go ahead and start with the Baron lane. So for the Baron lane adjustments, we have Jace. His base armor was reduced down to 37 from 46. And Bess's ult was nerfed pretty heavily. She has reduced damage reduction from 50% down to 30%. And the base damage on health lost was nerfed down to 25% from 40% at max rank. Kale also got some nerfs. Her first ability is going to be a higher cost, but also deal less damage at all ranks. Her second, her heal, is going to cost a tiny bit less, 10 on each rank, and then the heal is going to be reduced from 40% down to 30%. Looking at the tier list, we have Yone and Poppy moving up into S plus tier. Yone, I think, will benefit a lot from the crit buffs, and with Jace not being as dominant, I think he'll have easier time in lane. He won't be as punished. Poppy, I think, is really good into a lot of the top champions. She has good match to Yone, Volvo, Cassante, Jax. Cassante is going to appreciate the Iceborne Gauntlet buffs. It is an increase in HP and mana on that item. Yasuo and Trinity will be a lot stronger. They will be happy about the LDR buffs, and again, Zeus won't be able to punish them as much because his reduced armor will make him a bit more vulnerable. Malphite, his matchups are a lot better. The champions that are good into Malphite are a lot more popular, and so he'll have a lot better matchups more often. And so I think he'll be a bit more valuable in that way. Otherwise, Kale and Jace will go down to the A tier. They're still pretty decent. However, they're going to struggle and their counter matchups are going to feel a lot worse. And so you're just going to want to be a bit more careful when you pick champions. Now on to the jungle. So we have Lee Sin getting even more buffs, bigger shield, and more Omnivamp on his second ability. Nidalee is going to have reduced base armor and reduced magic resist, as well as the bonus movement speed on her passive is going to be lowered. Hecarim is going to have a lot less bonus movement speed when he hits someone with his first, and Echo is getting a buff, plus 10% ability power ratio on his passive, a 3-hit passive, and then an increase in the ability power ratio and just base damage on his second ability. So a lot more damage coming out of Echo. So for changes to the tier list, Lee Sin, I believe, is going to be really overpowered now. Now they did nerf him initially at the start of the season, but they've given him multiple buffs to sort of put him where they want him to be. And I think they just have overtuned him a little bit. So he's S plus tier now, or S tier now. Yone is S tier. You'll see that Echo and Poppy have also moved up to A plus tier. The extra damage from Echo is really strong. I wouldn't be surprised to see him S tier in the coming weeks. And Poppy, again, is just really good into a lot of the top matchups, so I think she'll be quite strong. Ambessa and Jace. Jace, I think, is going to be a lot worse in the jungle. He'll take a lot more damage, have a harder time clearing, and will probably get bullied quite hard when he goes to skirmish in the jungle, either 1v1 or 2v2. And Ambessa, same sort of thing. She's still good, but her alt nerfs are going to make it a lot harder to make really good plays. She's just going to feel a lot worse, I think, when they're alting. Hecarim in Italy, still pretty good. The nerfs do hit pretty hard, but they're just still good champions. Italy still hard to play, but they're probably worth playing if the S tier champions aren't available. They're just not going to feel as good as they used to. For the mid lane, we have Aurora buffs. Her first is getting a bit more damage. Both the base damage is increasing by 5, and then the ability power ratio is increasing by 3% on the first cast and the recast. And then her third will be getting a 5 base damage buff. On top of the damage buffs for Aurora, we have Luden's Echo. We talked about this in the introduction, but it is 30 base damage more, and an additional 5% in 80 scalings, but also the cooldown was reduced by 1 second. So it feels very strong now. I think the combination of Luden's plus the base Aurora buffs are going to be really strong, and she's going to feel very powerful when she gets her first item, which is typically Luden's. So for the tier list, we have a bit more, we changed things up a little bit. Twisted Fate, Aurora, Ari, Yone, Echo, Kassadin, Yasuo, Syndra, Lucian are all increasing up the tier list. Twisted Fate is going to feel really strong. You can go Luden's first into Lichbane. That's going to feel really powerful. And Aurora and Ari Echo are all going to rush Ludens. I think this item is going to be really powerful on them. The sort of Ludens plus Lichbane combination is going to feel strong. Ludens plus Infinity Orb will also feel very powerful, especially on someone like Ari. And then Syndra could benefit a little bit from this. Sometimes you do build Ludens. Lucian will also be feeling a bit better mid lane. He's still very short range, so he's not going to be great in all the matchups, but the buffs to the crit items will help him quite a bit in the mid to late game. Kale, Chase, and Aurelion Sol will probably feel a bit worse this patch. Chase and Kale both got direct nerfs, but Aurelion Sol just feels a bit indirectly nerfed because I think there's going to be a lot more early game powerhouses like Aurora and Ari running around and Echo, and he just won't feel as safe. He'll be a lot more dangerous you'll have to look out for. Otherwise, I think that'll be it for mid lane. We'll move on to the bot lane. All right, now for Dragon Lane and supports. We've added a tier to our tier list. SS for Lucian and Smolder. I think they're both going to be very strong. Lucian's already in a really great spot, but his mid to late game with the item buffs is going to feel a lot better. Kog'Maw could benefit from the Navori buffs, and Jhin and Xayah can appreciate some of the crit item buffs as well, even if they're not like super strong right now. But Jhin is definitely getting up there, and I think this could be a really good opportunity for him to shine with the new items. So for the supports, we have Sona being a little bit worse, but I still think she's going to be really good. And then Nautilus still feels pretty good. Leona's good. Zillion did get nerfed a little bit, so his lane won't be as oppressive, and his ult will be on a bit longer of a cooldown. 10 seconds isn't as crazy. It's just going to feel like maybe there's a window there where you can punish the ult not being up, because late game it does feel like a very short cooldown. But otherwise, there's not many changes to supports. It's very much the same. Lulu Nami still dominating. Leona, Braum are still very good counters into a lot of the popular supports, and Brand can just deal a ton of damage early on and also scales very well for team fights. But if you want to climb just for playing meta, I would probably suggest Nami or Thresh or Brand to Leona. I think those four are probably your best bet. Lulu can be good, but she's just going to lack that sort of independence that sometimes you want as a support. Thanks again for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and have a great day.